coming to the science of respecting the self, understanding how the brain works in regards to this topic of self-respect will, of course, will help you um, to improve your self-esteem when necessary. The way you think about yourself repeatedly, you know, so you're developing a circuit in your brain, wiring. So the way you think about yourself is developed the same way as you as learning how to ride a bike. The more you practice with the bike, the good rider you are. So later on you can ride without even thinking about it, right? Because a strong pathway in the brain has been created. So when we are children, our thoughts about ourselves are created by others' comments, or I would say that the thoughts about ourselves are created by the messages from those, especially who are close to us or whom we believe are important to us, such as parents, brothers, sisters, schoolmates, friends. So, for example, if we were constantly criticized in school, that would have led to the formation of negative self-image and low self-esteem. And now, as an adult, your thoughts repeatedly revert to the messages ingrained in your brain or in your mind. Suppose, say, you went to attend a function, and your pattern of negative thinking could come in that may lead to social anxiety and thinking that, or having the belief that no one likes you. But that may not be true. So the pathways or whatever is being ingrained here, that affects your thoughts again. So the thought affects the brain, and the brain again affect your thoughts, your mind. So the pessimism is a dominant thought pattern. It is automatic, just like riding a bike after lots of practice. People say that why this negative thinking is automatic? It's because you have a wonderful practice of it since so many years. So, but the good news is that these thought processes can be changed, and the self-esteem can be improved, certainly be improved. You can rewire your brain towards optimism. That is what is called this, neuroplasticity. So when I accept myself, when I love myself, so this self-love, self-compassion, self-respect, it activates the care system in the body. It, the brain secretes that feel-good chemicals, which, they call DOSE, DOSE acronym. Dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphin. They're all feel-good hormones that helps reduce stress, anxiety, and also increase the feelings of safety and security. And when you have the positive thinking, and when you fill your mind with all the positivities, and when you relax your mind, you are actually preventing a brain hijack. It's called amygdala hijack. What is amygdala hijack? There are two important areas in the brain. One is cortex, the thinking brain, and one is this amygdala, emotional brain. When a person meets an emergency situation or a threatening situation, that message is sent to the thalamus in the brain through the sense organs. And the thalamus in the brain sends that stimulus to the thinking brain and the emotional brain, that is to the neocortex and the amygdala. Amygdala, the emotional brain, is milliseconds faster than the neocortex. Uh-huh. So what does this amygdala do? It looks for a match for this particular stimulus, okay? And if there is already a mental conditioning, something already ingrained here due to some past experiences, that amygdala gets a message that the situation now you are facing is a fight, flight, or a freezing situation. So immediately what happens? This emotional brain, amygdala, hijacks the thinking or rational brain. So this is called amygdala hijack. So when this happens, the physical responses are, you sweat a lot, palpitation, and the quivering in the stomach and the limbs, and there is a constriction in the throat, etc. And mentally, there is a drop in the memory function. You can't think of anything that can help you calm down, during that phase. Then what happens? The person reacts irrationally and act inappropriately. And after some time, he repents. I don't know what happened. I was totally out of control. That's what people say. So there is no connectivity with the thinking brain. So that's why, such emotional outbursts happen. So when I relax myself through meditation, through positive thinking, what happens? I can prevent amygdala hijack, because meditation is relaxation and conscious awareness of the true self and conscious generation of positive thoughts and positive self-talk. And this conscious awareness regulates the connectivity between the thinking brain and the emotional brain. And that's why we say that positive self-talk enhances your self-esteem, and also it brings that connectivity in your thinking and emotional brain. And that's how, you get that emotional stability. And I would like to share a few tips to enhance this, to improve your self-respect, or in other words, I would say that to increase your self-esteem. First is respect your uniqueness. Your individuality is a blessing, not a burden. If you want to be like someone else, your life will be no greater than theirs, right? So if at all you discover your choices are frequently dictated by others' views, then you understand that you're losing your control over your life. So without control, we panic, we end up in fear, anxiety, they are all low vibrational states. So ultimately, we end up having no control over our joyful life, and we become slaves of other people's opinions. So start to question yourself, question your actions. If you want, you can also note it down. That why do I do what I do? Why do I choose what I choose? Am I doing what I really think is right, or am I following the crowd? Just check. Let it come from you. So in psychology, there is this concept of social proof. The social proof suggests that people like to follow the crowd. If everyone is doing something, I should do the same thing. And you assume that it is the right thing to do. So other people influence your actions more than you realize it. So never let your individuality get taken away from you. just because you want to fit in with the rest of the society. Embrace your uniqueness. And another second tip is stop falling into the comparison trap. Comparing ourselves to others is a trap that's extremely easy to fall into. Yeah, and especially with this increasing social media nowadays. So the only person you should compare yourself to is you, and the best you. And next is find the trigger. Think about, at what time or at which situation makes you feel low, feel sad. Find the trigger. When you happen to see, read, or listen to any news or see any event, face any event or situation, similar to the event that had caused fear, what happens? Immediately, your mind takes the mic to speak about all the unwanted stories of the past. It reminds you all the negative moments of the past and make you feel low, sad, bad, and mad. So find out the trigger. So when you find that your mind is overwhelmed with base thoughts that makes you feel sad, sit and reflect on that. What is the trigger? Then it will be easy for you to tackle it. And the next time when you meet the same event or situation, that will not become a trigger for you, because you are now very well aware of it, right? So that's the trick. The friend I mentioned in the beginning, when she had to meet people, share the ideas of her social service projects, she used to get tensed a lot because she had the fear of speaking. She detected her pattern of thinking. Sit and reflect. What's happening? What is that pattern of thinking? She detected and labeled them. Oh, these are all the thoughts of self-doubt. These are all the thoughts of fear. When you label it, what happens? You're detached from your own thoughts. How beautiful. You are separated from your own thoughts. Being a detached observer. That's what meditation teaches us. Just to be a detached observer and watch yourself. So she did that. She did that meditation, and she also, started this self-reflection, finding out thinking pattern and labeling them. And when you talk to yourself, it's always good to use distancing pronouns. Like when you are experiencing stress or tension, or when there is a negative self-talk within, try using distancing pronouns. For example, instead of saying that I'm feeling worried, I'm feeling ashamed, I'm feeling guilt, I'm feeling embarrassed, if your name is Ria, you tell Ria is feeling ashamed, Ria is feeling embarrassed. So when you use such pronouns, this can help you to see the situation as a challenge rather than a threat. Try it and see. And then start to question your own negative thought and encourage positive self-talk. So that friend of mine, she had thoughts like, I'm going to do a mistake in my presentation. I'm going to mess up. So I told her, you just question these thoughts, these waste thoughts. And I asked her to say, stop. Say stop to yourself, to those thoughts. Maybe verbally or even mentally, you can do that. This is just a thought. So she asked herself, to that particular weak thought, where is the evidence that I would fail? So whenever there is this weak thought or negative thought, immediately look for evidence against this thought. Because, when there is low self-esteem, that also finds some evidence supporting the thought, you know. You start remembering all those events where you failed, where you were insulted. It collects all the past negative sequences. But here, if you want to increase your self-esteem, look for the evidence against that weak thought. So I asked her to write down all the evidences against that self-depleting thought. She wrote, I have done many presentations before for which I have received good feedback. Yes, I have done few mistakes, but that all have really taught me good lessons to improve. So all good. She noted down all good feedback of her work, her past presentations and projects. So once you write down the positive feedback of your past, then you become a judge for yourself, or, I would put another word, you become a well-wisher for yourself and help to become strong. So note down all the possibilities of proving that waste thoughts wrong. You might have failed in the past, but that doesn't mean that you will be the same in the future too. So tell yourself, whatever may be the past, I have every right to be positive now. I have every right to win now. So find the evidence against that weak thought and show yourself those possibilities to improve. So this helps developing self-esteem and stabilizing your self-respect. And next is be aware of thinking and also feeling, because they say that awareness precedes change. And in psychology, there is a term called meta-awareness. Meta-awareness refers to the awareness of the process of conscious experience. It's explicit noticing of the content of experience. What I am thinking, what I am feeling at this moment, during that moment. That is meta-awareness. So remember that every event we experience affects us in a thinking level, feeling level, and a behaving level too. So if we ignore our thoughts and feelings in the face of an upsetting event, what do? We act the feelings out or act the feelings in. Act the feelings out means we behave indifferently and then worry about it later. And act the feelings in means we shut down and then again suffering later, characterized by self-doubt and self-blame and all. So this approach makes us anxious. So become aware of your feelings and label those thoughts. Become an observer, because this detachment from your own thoughts, that is the first step to experience calmness. So the practice of identifying our thoughts and feelings is the first step that helps us to regulate our thoughts and emotions. And another one term which I want to introduce you is the thought obedience. You have to break thought obedience. I'll explain you what it is. Like, just because a thought came in your mind, so a thought came in my mind, I will start thinking that this is going to become true. I think this is true. I assume it is true. I obey it. And if there is any negative thought, you think that is going to happen like this. But is it true? No. It is just a thought. Because it came in my mind, because it's my mind that generated that thought, I start thinking that it is true. But it's not true. So what is giving that power to your weak thought, unwanted thought? Your obedience. That is your acceptance that it is true is giving that power. So break that thought obedience. How? Just say, it is just a thought. It is just a thought. Tell yourself, it's just a thought. So when you say it, it will act as a knife that will chop off that thought. Then that thought will lose its power. It will not become powerful. Yeah, it will not become sticky. You will not become weak. Like, for example, when thoughts come that, oh, I will get infected, I may fall ill, oh, I'm driving in this way, accident may happen, etc. You accept it and you get tensed. That is thought obedience. So break it, break the thought obedience. Have this slogan in your mind. This is just a thought, and put a smile on your face. Do you know the truth that smiling never allows you to think negative? Try it and see. Hmm. You can also browse and search about the smile and the brain. Huh? Okay, and another one psychology terms which I want to introduce you as share with you is this imposter syndrome. When we can overcome that imposter syndrome, that also helps you to increase that self-esteem. Imposter syndrome is the belief that you are a failure, you're a loser, despite all of your accomplishments till date. So to overcome this, list all of your personal successes. Remind yourself of all the achievements. Yeah. Be willing to change your self-image, because as we age and grow, we all change. So we have to keep up, update our self-image. So like in my friend's case, in that sister's case, she said she learned that, and she said that I need not impress anyone, but just express. Need not impress, just express myself. So she determined within herself that I am going to share what I have learned, what I have experienced. So I can do it well. I will definitely improve. That was the positive statement she brought in her mind. And so that, she could counteract that negative thought of fear, self-doubt, which is a sign of low self-esteem. And by saying this, I can do it. If I practice, I will definitely improve. By this practice, her face was glowing with happiness, and she got relieved from the slavery of the chain of weak thoughts. Since long time she was in that slavery, so she got relieved, and she is now a changed person. And I'll introduce you to all of you today. I'll show her picture at the end of the session. She has given me the permission. Okay, so I call her Sherni, lioness. Sherni in Hindi it is lioness. So I'll introduce her to all of you at the end of the session. So of course, even now, Sherni occasionally gets mentally paralyzed. At times, she's not able to deliver completely what she plans to do. It happens. As there is this physiological reason to the brain has been wired in that way for so long. So if her mind goes blank and not able to do what she wants, now she doesn't worry about that. She doesn't feel embarrassed like how she used to do before. No overthinking, because she has developed her self-esteem. So now she accepts and move on, because she has learned to rewire her brain through positive self-talk and meditation. Okay, and as I just want to tell you that, this meditation is, the simple definition which I always share with people is, meditation is nothing but, conscious generation of positive, powerful and uplifting thoughts. You relax your mind and you consciously generate positive and powerful thoughts. So these are all the points I shared with you. Respect your uniqueness. Stop falling into the comparison trap. Find the trigger. Use distancing pronouns. Start to question yourself. Find evidence against that weak thought and encourage positive self-talk. Be aware of what you're thinking and feeling. Break thought obedience, imposter syndrome, and practice 2-minute self-appreciation break. And yes, talk with high self-esteem people, supportive people as the company, so you are, and regular meditation. Thank you. Let's have a minute of silence. Self-appreciation break. Relax. Acknowledge specialities. Accept I am unique. Appreciate thank you. I told you that I'll introduce Sherni to all of you. I'm spotlighting her. Yes, she is Sister Ranjani. It's me.